there sometimes, I guess, if they're signed up for different camps in different places, and then there's a special case where they're on a field trip or something, and then they end up joining the good mix of our children, um, they will default usually. They will usually default down to the branch that they've mainly been going to,
Mhm.
or and so what they ended up being at a branch that they were signed up for, but their parents had intended to pick them up at a different one where they also were signed up. So we knew where the
Oh,
child, but it's just a matter of we had to explain to them why we did that, and it wasn't necessarily a we lost your child, it's a we followed our protocol, but unfortunately there was a misunderstanding with what the parent wanted, and so
right. I
that
understand. And this must have made like them frustrated, upset, and angry, right?
yeah
And this was like
yeah
strategy to like calm them down. Like you sat them down, tactfully explained it to them, like uh, like very tactfully communicated with them stuff, right? And explained to them like this was the issue and like you followed protocols, right? Okay, I understand.
yeah.
All right. Um,
And then it's a similar issue with the with any injuries or like a sunburn or an arm.
right.
We just tell them this is our procedure. Um,
Mhm.
and
Right.
usually I have to just tell them like I will have a word, like I just have to tell them and assure them that I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen again in the future by talking with the staff member, and then I have to follow through with the staff and tell them and reassure that they know what they're supposed to
Oh,
be doing.
all right. Okay, I understand. The next one is did okay. So were there any other difficulties in managing like the expectations of parents and like club members?
Um, any difficulties managing the numbers? Um, I can't say that. No, I can't say that any difficulty or expectation. Um,
Okay. All right. Okay, I understand.
the only expectations is, and it's unique to this summer, is because we have construction going on in our main parking lot, and it's caused us to move our main parking lot to the back behind, and it's a very inconvenient location. And so
Oh,
that's the only trouble that I've had to deal with. But I have to assure them that it's out of our control, and it's the school. We have a middle school connected to our facility, and it's under the school district's jurisdiction, so we can have no say in it. And so I've just had to deal with their expectations of how long pickups usually take for them, or the parking situation. But
right.
it's out of our control, so I just have to tell them, keep them up to date on what's going on, and apologize. Really, that's all I can do.
All right. I understand. That's all anyone can do. Okay. Let's see here. Did you build and leverage relationships with the club members, parents, or like fellow staff here, like the program, like other program leaders? And did these relationships help ease your like work in any way?
Yeah, and that's specifically to those troubled children that frequently act out. Um, I have to maintain a relationship with them to make sure that they usually they can like in specific, there's just one child that I can think of where um, I've built a dialogue between, and he's not very responsive to other staff, but he responds to me, and I've been able to um, usually if it ever before it would be frequent talks to the parents regarding his behavior, but now it's more of me keeping it in check, and then if it ever does get there to a point where I need to talk to a parent, that usually helps in the parents understanding that I've been working with him and I'm aware of his
Right.
behavior. Um,
Right. So
there have been other
you
parents that are there are other parents that are super concerned with their child, like they're what we call helicopter parents. They hover. They want to know
uh
everything about their child, and they want to make sure that everything's going good. And so
right.
we have to build a dialogue with their parents and just make sure we have a lot of things to tell them regarding their child. So when we identify those kinds of parents where they ask a lot of questions, I'm sure to make sure I'm sure that I am aware of what that child's doing from a day-to-day basis, and or not.
Right.
So I have something to tell them, and what it does is um, provide them with comfort, and that I'm paying attention to their child. Because usually they just want to know that. Usually they just want to know that their child's getting paid attention to. So if I have a story or a dialogue to give back to them at time of pickup, then
Mhm.
they're usually satisfied and they're
Right.
glad that the child had a fun time.
Mm. And okay, so I believe we're done with everything over here. In this in this experience. So right. Uh, is there anything else that you would like to mention for this experience? Like any other tough problems that you solve, or any other thing that you'd like to mention over here in this experience?
Um, I guess we haven't really talked about delegating and organizing the staff members and making sure that they're following protocol. But that's,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, the only
Right.
thing
I
I
will.
really have.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned that when we were talking about like you being promoted to like a senior role, right? Management of the entire like campsite, right? Multiple campsites. So you told me that you delegated work to your like six to
Yeah,
like
just
14
have to,
staff, right?
just making sure we have the appropriate numbers, we have the staff where they're supposed to be, um,
Right, right.
and when they're supposed to be. Um,
Oh,
yeah, I guess. And then just taking frequent visiting the different locations that are within our site
mhm.
frequently, just to make sure everything's running
Right.
smoothly.
And did you do any like okay? You also mentioned over here that you were part of like maintenance tasks. So did any of these maintenance tasks involve like electronics or something?
Yeah, from time to time, I'll communicate with our IT, especially with our IT staff member, and I'll usually because I'm probably one of the only other staff that are familiar with computer hardware to the extent that I can communicate with him um, more thoroughly problems that are going on with the computers we have a computer lab for the children, and I'll have to communicate to him any problems that are going on with those.
Okay, right.
And then
Uh,
in time, I will go
yeah.
in and troubleshoot in place of him if he's busy.
Okay. All right. We are done here. Okay. And over here, you have mentioned that you are highly proficient with Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Has have you ever been involved in like data entry projects on Excel, like entering or managing complex data in Excel, Microsoft Excel?
Um, I mean, the only to the extent that not professionally, I would say that I did I'll work with Excel a lot
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
there was a what's it called data we were doing data science. It was data analysis, It was one of my courses.
Okay, right, right.
But yeah, I've worked
So,
with Excel.
mhm, okay,
I've worked with it throughout the time I've been in school. That's the other thing. I can't say specifically anything.
okay,
I don't know.
right, right. Okay. Uh, Other than this, okay, there's one last question that I would like to ask. Okay, a couple of questions that I'd like to ask. You mentioned that you did a couple of additional courses. One was like on your own. Okay, so one was React library. The other was fundamentals of modern JavaScripts, and the third was and there was another course in JavaScripts. So like what institutes have you done this course from, like uh have you done it from edX or like Udemy, or like is there any other place you've done it from?
No, they weren't through any Udemy. I think one of the courses that I took was featured on Udemy. Um,
Okay,
I can't say I didn't go through any site like that. Um,
right.
they were one of them. They were both, I would say, from just individuals, but wanted to teach.
Mhm.
One of them went by the name of Tyler McGinnis, and the other one I can't remember. But
Okay,
they seem pretty reputable. I know they had a lot of big companies listed under them that they've done training. Um,
right, right, right. And like what was this platform
otherwise,
on which you learned
I'm
this
sorry.
stuff? What was the platform on which you learned this stuff, uh
The
like
course
this
was
was
just
the
it was just in the browser. It was just a course in the browser.
oh,
It was
okay,
videos. It was just videos that we would learn, or they would instruct, and then we would do it
right,
ourselves.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can mention this sort of along the lines of like audited online courses, okay? And like I
Yeah.
go into detail of like React library and stuff like that, okay? Is that all right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. You don't have like actual certificates for this, right?
No.
Okay, I understand. All right. Is there anything else that you would like to mention? Personal, any other personal projects related to computer science, like data entry, anything like that?
No.
Okay, right. Okay, and you have ordered like a resume and a LinkedIn, correct? Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. And for the LinkedIn, like, could you explain your like three biggest strengths? Like, what are your three biggest strengths?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that question? My three biggest.
Yeah. What do you feel are your three biggest strengths?
My three biggest strengths.
Yeah.
Man, I always have trouble answering these types of questions. I'd say my three biggest strengths are persist. I would say my attention. I guess not. I'm not attention to detail, but I'm very analytical.
Okay. Right.
Um, yeah.
Uh,
But I'd also consider that a weakness where I'm overanalyzing.
all right. Okay.
But maybe so that maybe not be a biggest strength. Um, um
Don't worry. Like,
I would say honesty.
okay.
I'm
Right.
honest with I'm honest with the clients that I work with. I'm honest with myself and usually my coworkers as well. If something's not working, I tell them, and if it's working great, I tell them. Um,
Right. Okay.
um, so I guess the I guess persistence, or what, I don't know what another word for persistence, but just I want to make sure it gets done. and so I want to make sure something gets done. So, and then usually that involves me doing it myself. Um, and that's in the context of me at my work at my job right now. But I think assuming me a site supervisor role recently has made me realize that I can't do everything myself, and then I have to delegate things.
Right, I understand.
And then usually I have to just be thorough in my explanation.
Okay, all right.
So
Okay, right. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, and like, what do you value in your work? What's the greatest thing that you value in your work? What excites you or interests you the most?
in my work in general,
Yeah.
quality. I want to I always work to impress whoever is going to look at it.
Right.
Yeah, I want quality.
Okay, I understand. All right then. We have talked about everything. Is there any questions that you want to ask me?
Um, no, I mean, I just, how does the LinkedIn go? How do we go about the LinkedIn? I want to know how that process goes.
How do we go about the LinkedIn? All right.
Yeah,
Well,
how does the process go with the LinkedIn
right.
portion?
In about 7 working days, I will provide you like your like your entire LinkedIn profile and like your resume, right? Inside the LinkedIn profile, like you do have a LinkedIn account set up, right?
Yeah, I do. I haven't, I don't think I've ever kept it up to
Edited.
date.
Yeah, I understand. I will uh like there's not much content on it. I understand. So like I'll write all the content, right? Like what's gonna go in the about section, right? That's at the top. What's going to be your like headline? That's like right below your name. What's going to go in like the professional experience section, right? What skills you should opt for, okay? Stuff like that, right? So, and what industry you should do, stuff like that, okay?
Okay.
So yeah, so I'll like work this whole stuff out, right? And like in our LinkedIn document, you'll have like detailed instructions on how to edit your LinkedIn profile, all right? Like with
Okay.
pictures, there are like visuals in there that will tell you like how to like copy paste like you can paste the about section by like clicking this pen icon in next to this about section thing, and like that will open like the editing menu for this. So, like all the necessary instructions are in that whole document, okay, on how to edit your LinkedIn profile accordingly. Okay.
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 Yeah.
So any other questions?
No, but I
All
think
right.
that's it.
Okay, so we'll provide you your like documents within 7 working days. All right.
Hmm.
Okay.
Wait,
And
that last, oh, wait, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last bit.
we will provide you your documents within 7 working days. The
Oh, yeah.
LinkedIn and the resume. Okay.
Now the resume, and that's, I guess my question is your direction. Where are you going? I want to have, can I have a little more insight on where you're going to go with this?
Right. So from my experience, you have done like 2 projects in web development, right? Like 2 major
Hmm.
projects. Those were 2 apps that you built, right?
Right.
So I can like put those projects at the very top, right? Like I'll create like a separate section for projects, right? I'll put the web development projects, the 2 web development projects that you mentioned, and this, and like I'll aggregate like my current strategy. Like what I'm thinking right now is that I'll essentially like combine all of the stuff that you said that you do personally, like personal repair, right? So I'll
Hmm.
combine all of that, put that into a third project. Okay. So
Okay.
this is, yeah, and this will help me create like a whole project section that will be like at the very top. Okay.
Okay.
And right, and these are like selected projects. Okay. So that's the first thing your employer will look at. So, and then we'll move on to this whole previous experience, right? The experience that you have right now, it's heavily related to customer service, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you're talking about like when you look at the jobs that I have sent, like the web developer and sorry, not the web developer, I mean the field service technician and the remote in-home solutions technician. So
Mm-hmm.
both of these require like customer service skills. So I will like target that towards like customer service. All right, your professional
Mm-hmm.
experience, I'll target that towards customer service. And like another one of the other keywords was like problem solving, so I like target that towards problem solving, right? So problem
Mm-hmm.
solving in customer service. Okay. So and after this, like at the okay, so that's mostly like my vision for this right now. I'll like discuss this and refine this with Fatma. All right. So but
Yeah.
that's just the vision for it right now. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great to me.
Right.
Yeah, because my concern was that it might be too focused on like the web development or um yeah.
So yeah, okay.
But it's okay. Yeah, no, that sounds like it's focused on both. The
Right.
because I
I
think
need
I
to
am.
discuss it. Yeah, I need to discuss this with Fatma whether to how shall I put it? Whether it will be better to focus on web development or not. Like, say for example, I want to focus it on like web development. I can add like a technical skills section, all right, and the things that you haven't told me to like highlight in red, stuff like HTML5, JavaScript, CSS, MySQL, jQuery. I'll put those things in your technical skills section so that it's like highlighted that you know how to do this
Yeah.
stuff, like social media API stuff like that. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'll put this
Right.
more up to the top so that like it has like it shows that you have experience in this, right? So that will make it look more like web development. Now, if you want, if you want it to be more like on the lines of a technician role. So that would require more along the lines of the customer service roles that you
Mm.
mentioned, and like the project management and customer service roles, right? So
Right.
I'd put the professional experience at the top if I wanted to go with with a role more focused towards this technician role. But like I'll try to combine flavors of both web development and like technical technician so that it's like relevant to both of them. I'll try that. Okay.
Okay. And then am I so then yeah, because I do need to add the site supervisor, and that's going to be handled too.
Yeah, I'll add the site supervisor role as well. What I'll do is like merge the site supervisor and the program leader roles. All right. So
Mm.
I'll say that you're currently site supervisor. These are your current duties, and like I'd say that you previously worked as a program leader. All right. So I'll go on to elaborate the stuff that you did here. All right.
Okay.
In bullet points. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So is there any other question that you'd like to ask?
No, I think that's all now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So thank you very much for all of your time.
No, you for your time.
Yes. It was my pleasure. And it was a wonderful time. I had a wonderful time talking with you. And if there are any other like questions or concerns that you have, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. If like after I deliver your materials, you're having any trouble at all, like with the LinkedIn, or like if you're having any trouble with say like if you're not receiving any interviews, as many interviews as you'd like, so like please tell me and like I'll look into it. Okay.
Okay. Good.
Okay. All right. So please stay in touch. Okay. And
Yeah.
okay. So pleasure talking to you. And bye.
Bye. Have a good rest of your day.
Have a good day too. Bye.